Hey everybody, it is June 2021 and we have this month's 21 card tarot spread. We have another mixed bag of a month. So I'm going to go through this whole reading and then I pulled one card, I haven't seen it yet, from the Good Tarot as a kind of overarching theme at the end. So bear with me as I go through this because this is a very complex month to talk about. Now, for those of you who are interested in the tarot or know about the tarot, you're wondering, how is she doing this reading? So I will look at the cards this way. I will look at the cards up and down, up and down, up and down. I will look at them across. I will look at them crisscross. I start with the corners. I go in the middle. So it's hard to explain unless we were taking a class with me. So just bear with me and go with the flow. And you'll see by the end of the month when you look back what it was that I was talking about. Sometimes world events creeps in. Basically what we're doing anyway is an energy report for the collective for the month ahead. And then you're going to see how it applies to you personally, okay? So the good news is the center of this entire reading is the victory card, okay? So you have the Six of Wands in the center. It gives us the center force of everything. But in a way, when I look at all the rest of the cards, there is a divine chaos going on in June that is still turbulent in some ways, celebratory in other ways, and very kind of troublesome in other ways. So we really have like a big hairball that got coughed up in front of me here in this reading. But again, victory over the things that we're going to address today is what the point of all of this is. And when I say victory over, it means that we have evolved beyond, right? So it's not that you have fought against anything, as if more that you have supported and become and embodied this new change that you want, right? So recognizing that, you know, who knows who's going to watch this this video. I know people from 53 countries so far have watched my videos and have attended my seminars. So we're going to see how this applies to you, right? Nothing is specific or geographic in here. So center of it, the collective sigh of, okay, we can do this. And then on the corners, we're seeing what are the cornerstones of the month. So great, I feel, of these two cards here, giving us some solid ground. We have diplomacy here in this corner. We have a real sense of diplomacy, being able to see both sides, meeting in the middle, finding a spiritual solution to any kind of problem that we might have, right? So this is a good thing. Here we also have we have the Three of Pentacles, so we have collaboration. This is like the architecture of things. So we're seeing diplomacy, we're seeing the architecture of things. We are seeing responsibility and accountability in this corner, and we're seeing epiphanies over here. Swift things happening out of the blue, can also be things needing to topple. So it's like when you explode a building and it all comes down quickly. So these are things that are reminding us that, and I'm pretty sure the planet Uranus is doing some dancing this June. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But bottom line is there's some swift things. If anything can happen, it will. But there's also accountability around it. And there's also a sense of building and rebuilding and a sense of diplomacy that is really needed this month, okay? So these are the cornerstones of what we're looking at here. Remember, there's victory. Now, so let's take a look at the first couple of weeks of this month, right? And then we come into the second 2 weeks. We're still in Gemini. Over here, we're moving into Cancer. We have the solstice. We have eclipses. We've got everything. So here we go. So we need extra patience that we can't, like that quote, Rome wasn't built in a day. So if we're getting really frustrated and impatient that things aren't changing quick enough, this is reminding us that in fact, being responsible and being accountable and making changes takes time, and they're organic. Something can happen organically once the seed has been planted, the weeds have been pulled from the garden. Nothing happens overnight. And then sometimes it feels like it does. It sounds like a contradiction, but it's really true here that we have to remember that we have to tune into a higher source. The Temperance card reminds me that there's an angel there, and there's a sense of, okay, I've got to keep reminding myself that my primary connection is through spirit and through source energy, that there is spirit in all things. and that there is a higher integrity to all things as well. And how am I embodying that? So we're all kind of asking ourselves the same question. Some of us are avoiding those questions, but the bottom line is that the whole of humanity has this question on the table, right? Now, this next 3 cards reminds us that there's lots of talking, which is really good. Discussing, connecting, coming up with ideas, mutually collaborating on things. So this is a really good thing. This is also a sense of willingness to communicate, and the need for it as well, right? The need for it. The sun is shining now up in the Northern Hemisphere. We're in summertime. Thank God over where I live, it's finally gotten sunny. We kind of go from winter to summer. We don't really have a spring here. So I'm kind of excited when it turns into summer all of a sudden. But regardless of that, the sun represents vitality. It represents there's a juice in humanity. There's this inherent quality of life force energy that regardless of all the loss, regardless of all the things that we're seeing, especially on the news, like be careful. Remember, you got to think for yourself. It's not all, you're seeing only a sliver of what goes on in the world. So be careful. Make sure you see it from lots of different sources. But the bottom line is that there's a sense of movement, right? We definitely have movement again. Moving in the right direction, talking about things to go in the right direction. It won't happen overnight, but there's really beautiful vitality in these new discussions, right? So this could be around social justice. This could be around solving the pandemic. This could be around political diplomacy. We're not really sure. We know that there's division everywhere in the world. This is not just in America. This is not just in Canada. In other countries, we see division, or the concept of division in general, as an archetype that all human beings are going through right now. This species is going through a great transformation. So these are the things, right? So then there's an invitation. When we're in a transformation, it's not going to be fun, and it's not always going to be pleasant, but there's still going to be joy, still going to be reasons to celebrate within the change. We say we want change, but we only want change the way we wanted it before. Like, okay, I need to have change, but can I please know what it is in advance? And that's not what's going to be given to us. However, that said, we're up for it, right? The human race is up for it. There's more opportunity for equity, more opportunity in here to come to the table with change, right? We know this. Now, this is fate, destiny. The Ace of Swords to me, and when it's beside the Sun and the Hermit, which is about the lessons and the learning, is to me, this is fate and destiny of humanity. And yes, it feels like certain things are being taken from us and certain things are being required to put back, right? So in other words, the idea that somehow we've gotten away with something and now we can't. Now look at environmental issues that we have. We've gotten away, for example, of using plastic for a long time, but now we're realizing like we can't do that. And again, for those of you who use it and going, don't tell me what to do. I'm just saying, it's like this is all very obvious to all of us right now as to the way we need to change things. And so it's all across the board. It's how we are, especially in the West. Now, on the bottom of this is our true sense of soul and spirit. As an animist, I believe that everything has a spirit, everything has a soul, even a blade of grass. I believe that the world is ensouled, the anima mundi, that there's a soul in the world, that we must now become stewards of the earth instead of dominators. And that's what's coming up for everybody right now. Nobody knows how the hell to do that, right? So all at once. So, okay, so does it sound like I'm preaching? I'm just telling you what the cards are saying. And remember the victory. So we're actually making some headway here. And I really like that at the beginning of the month, right? Now, learning some lessons, fated lessons that we can't get away with not confronting. Those of us who are not willing to confront those lessons that are deeply ingrained in society as we make the changes that are necessary, we're going to not be comfortable with all this. Those of us who are willing to look are also not going to be comfortable. Like, guess what? Nobody's promising you that we're going to have a great time, right? But we do know that there's going to be moments where we feel so good about, hey, we're doing the right things. This is the right thing to do. And then we start to realize that no matter what, we can't take this world personally. This is an interesting card, the Five of Swords here in this center, because it talks about pride. It really also talks about the hurt pride. So if you have pride in the way things were, oh, this is the way things, look at how good this is, and we're realizing that it's not so good, right? So there's a sense of having to release your story around what is important to you so you can allow something to change. And it's not about shame, and it's not about saying, oh, it's so bad. It's about like, oh, wow, this is the way I thought things should go. Maybe now I realized, okay, the thing I was proud of, maybe not so good. Maybe that's okay then. So I'm going to have to learn something new. This is a big learning curve. The Hermit is really leading us into the victory through education. All of us need to learn about each other, move away the concept of other, right? So that's what steals us, it actually steals our unity when we other each other, right? Now, here we go. It's actually not too bad this month. I was kind of looking at the cards going like, and then I'm like, no, you know what? This is good. It's just lots of learning. So the second half of June certainly looks like, I look at this and I think too, here in the corner, sorry I'm jumping, but if I look at the corner here and I think of the world events, this is something like a war, something that could be going on where it doesn't seem like anybody is coming to the table, and the need for diplomacy. So this could be a number of things. You know, if you look at any country on this planet that's going through, you know, a tremendous amount of violence and turmoil, you know, this is the concept of the opportunity for peace that doesn't always come. There's not always a window of opportunity. And that does look like that's going to come at the end of June. Now, I can't point out which country we're talking about. I could guess it could be what's going on over in the Middle East, but it could be anywhere. It could be even in our backyards, right? The opportunity for healing and the stepping into the center with somebody who we have othered or they have othered us, coming to the table with diplomacy and love, with the King of Cups, which is that sense of, I will see the best in you, you know, and I will meet you in the middle, right? So that's really a call to all of us by the end of June, no matter whether it's a squabble between you and another person, whether it's an institution that you have to make peace with, whether it's, or tear down, which is the don't be like this. Colette did not do a video calling to arms, okay? Just making sure I cover that right here. But the idea though that something needs to change and end in order for something to be better, but it's the end of fighting is what this is, and more about how do we actually build something new, right? This is about rebuilding and building, right? So now I want to go back to this idea here about the pride piece, about the feeling like your pride's been hurt in some way, and how do we build how do we be proud of what we're doing? So this is about victory over the hurt pride, victory and saying, okay, you know what, I could be proud of the new things I'm doing. So rather than keeping on looking at the past and saying, oh, woe is me, you know, or like, where are the good old days? They're gone already, right? They're just gone, and we need a new world. We are literally building a new world with these cards, like really looking at it. And that means that, you know, the losses that we have incurred in a general way, have given us even more impetus, even more fuel to move this forward, right? So because we can't bring people back, we can't bring things back, we have to look at because we're all responsible for what happens next, all of us, right? All of us as a collective. So, but gratefully, we don't need everybody to be on board. Remember the concept of the caterpillar, and how does a metamorphosis actually happen for a caterpillar to turn into a butterfly? There's only a small group of imaginal cells that band together that then make the immune system start to kill off the parts that don't work and start to grow the wings of the butterfly, for example, because the caterpillar doesn't have wings, right? So how does it not be a caterpillar? Well, only parts of it get to keep going forward. The rest of it's left behind, and then all of a sudden there's this brand new being like that comes out of this. And we are right smack dab in the middle of various stages of that, depending on where you are in your awareness and your willingness to be awake. Right? So here, use your own intuition. Remember, I keep saying think for yourself, right? I always look at all different types of news. I never look at just one thing. I go beyond mainstream news. I go and look at what is everybody saying. And remember this, we're like a diamond. There's all kinds of different facets to the same diamond. Don't be afraid to look at them and then make your choice. I always say, what would love do and what's in the highest good, right? And whatever is in the highest good will call you forward, because right now the entire species is going through this transformation, like it or not. So great time for creativity and new, this is kind of interesting too. So if something isn't working in your business, for example, that will go fast, and then you're going to regroup. So that's a pivot. June is a pivot month as well for people who are entrepreneurs, etc. Great month for you to take a look at pivoting your business. This is, as we move into Cancer, right around the solstice, we're actually doing a solstice, fantastic solstice party. Mark, what date is it? The 22nd, right? Just a couple days after the solstice. Yeah, and there is what? A PDF?
A quiz.
A quiz. Yes, we have a quiz. Okay, you guys are going to get a quiz. There's a link somewhere in this video, but we're having a party on the solstice, and of course I'm inviting back, by popular demand, Jennifer Rassiopi, who wrote the book Cosmic Health. She's a brilliant astrologer, and we're going to talk about how you can use and utilize this amazing solstice energy. We decided to launch it the day Mercury goes direct as we move into the sign of Cancer. So that's going to happen on June 22nd, I'm pretty sure, but you're going to have a link and you'll get more information about this as we go into the month, right? Okay, so back to what I'm saying here, because this does represent the solstice. So recap again. Vitality returns the early part of June. We have to be patient. We're not building things as fast as we want. We're realizing that we are moving and we are totally accountable for what happens next. We are responsible for what happens next. Lots of opportunity to talk about things and to negotiate, etc. Recognize that we have to. This is our destiny, our fate. We can't run away from our fate. Fate's right in front of us. The destiny is what we make of the fate, which is what's going on here. And all the things that have been taken away from others, etc., we're reclaiming them. There's a lot of reclamation, reparations, all kinds of stuff like that that are going on in June. Remember as well, lost pride, like, oh, maybe I'm not so proud of the way things have been going. Maybe I want to contribute in a different way to the world, and that's what's coming up for us. Also, it's a beautiful learning curve, right? We're in that place. And it reminds us as well, too, not to take the world personally. You know, everybody's entitled to their feelings. You know, somebody might be feeling a certain way and expressing themselves in a certain way that's not the way you would, but you have to let them. Well, you don't have to do anything, actually. You do whatever you want. But the best way to be is to recognize that if you see humanity as a diamond and you see millions of facets to this diamond, there's different ways of perceiving the world. And also the concept of unity in diversity, right? That we need diverse visions and experiences and ideas, etc., to make the world continue to move forward, right? So be very careful not to get caught in an echo chamber this month. And again, think for yourself. Now, I actually quite like the second half of this month as well, too, as we move forward to the solstice, which is, remember that in the Northern Hemisphere, and I typically talk about the Northern Hemisphere because 80% of you guys that follow me are in the North. I love you guys down under also, but particularly we're looking, yes, we do. I love you. I love you so much. Yes, it's just we're talking about sunlight. That's it. So, and it impacts crops, etc. When the trees go to sleep or when they wake up, right? We're in the real full-on summer. So this is something here where we're going, okay, so how do we use this energy moving forward into the time of Cancer, which is at the end of June, where we're looking at family and we're seeing and we're addressing the past, because Cancer looks at the past and sees what it can take from it and become safer and nurture. It's a nurturing sign, etc. And it's a time where you want to be with family and friends, etc. And fortunately, we are starting to be able to again. And that's also really poignant. Like, what do these people mean to us, right? It's about what do we make it mean. Beautiful, beautiful Empress, the Empress, which is the fertility card. It's the card of, rich fertility and great opportunities. And again, times to pivot. The Seven of Wands is all about the person who has made it this far, made it this far, worked really hard. And you're in a position now, not only to recognize how far you've come, because that is what you're supposed to be doing, but, it's also a place where you can easily defend yourself, but you don't want to be in that. Who cares about defense? We're really looking at contribution now. It's like, okay, how can I contribute? Now I have a better perspective on things. And that's what everybody's thinking about now. Those of who can, right? Now, wherever there are issues, and these are definitely, again, I talked about this already, issues where there is strife, there is discord. There's something to learn here. There's something really important to learn. So to stay open and to listen, and that's what the negotiating is all about. It's not saying, I'm going to come and save you or rescue you. I want to hear what you have to say. How can we make this better? How can we make this a win-win? So hopefully this is all going to make sense to all of us at the end of the month. I kind of feel it. Now, I decided I would choose one of my good tarot cards as a kind of theme card for the month. Now, the cards are really big, which is why I don't do, and this is the Universal Weight is the card deck that I worked on like for 25 years. This is how I made my living, and I did readings with this deck and predictive readings as well too. I'm doing more like, I remember it's an energy report, less about predicting events and more about here's the energy we're all going to be thinking about, and let's look back on it at the end of the month and go, yeah, wow, that was really interesting. Now here, ooh, the Seven of Earth. I love that it's an Earth card. So the Seven of Earth, I'm going to read it right from the guidebook. What I did for the Good Tarot was use my interpretations of the cards. You can use this deck exactly as you would any tarot deck. You can use whatever you've learned in terms of traditional tarot. My next tarot deck is going to be a traditional tarot deck, like hardcore tradition. And this one, it was more about the psychology of bringing in a spin on, not to say that happy, joyous, and free positive psychology, but more like how can we use the lesson and move beyond it and evolve because of it. That was the point of doing the Good Tarot deck. So I'm going to read what this says. So this card represents opening to a new strategy. This is great. Being at a crossroads and you make a decision in the month of June. As I reflect on my progress to date and see where I stand, I contemplate whether I want to continue singing the same song or change my tune. Oh, this is so apropos. I'm always free to go back and to reimagine what I might co-create. I love this because that's exactly what a Cancerian, that's the energy of Cancer would look back and say, well, how could I improve this and what else could I co-create? If what I manifested did not serve me as I thought it might and others, I don't have to be afraid to admit it is no longer for me. Remember I said, we are all responsible for what comes next. Whatever I choose to do, I'm not afraid to start over, for I feel assured that Spirit will always support my highest good. So that's the thing. Remember, it's that whole idea of rebuilding or taking something down and putting something back, rebuilding something new in its place, because sometimes you can't rebuild. What if the foundation of your life is built on rotten wood? Like we're looking at that in our like we bought a fixer-upper, and we're seeing like places where the wood is just rotten and we have to completely replace it. We can't fix it, right? Sometimes you just have to tear it all down and put something new in there. And so that is something that we can't be afraid to do, all of us right now, whether it be in a small way in our smaller world. We have our tiny universes that make up the giant universe, and then looking at the broader things that need to change within the structure that support all of us, which we look at in society, in law, in the way we treat each other, in social, as I said, social justice, again, is going to be really important to all of us this month, and a really great assessment month as well, too. So, yay us. Remember diplomacy, especially when something happens out of the blue. You want to not react in a way that is combative, right? And that's where this is. You're okay to actually meet somebody in the middle. Okay, I'm going to fascinate to see what happens this month. Okay, everybody. Now, don't forget, we have a quiz. Thank you, Mark. And the quiz, there is a link for the quiz. If you click on the quiz, actually, it's fabulous. It's all pictures and things like that. I love it. And get you ready for the solstice. And as I said, we're having a big party on the solstice, a big celebration on the solstice on the 22nd of June.
Which is not the solstice.
No, we're calling it the solstice party because we're celebrating the energy of the solstice that happened a day and a half prior to. The reason we didn't do it on that day is because the astrology of all the other planets were a little bit wonky, and we wanted to do it the day Mercury goes direct because we always love that day when Mercury goes direct and we're out of the woods. So there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. This is June. Okay, everybody, I love you. I will see you next time. Take it easy.
Colette?
But if you like this video, what? Or you want to come? Yes?
Yeah. I just have a couple of questions. You
Yeah.
mind if I jump in?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Come and ask me.
My chair.
You are going to do a tarot course, aren't you?
Yes, I
Because-
am, with Jeanette Chackey-Peters as my second in command. I am absolutely going to be doing a tarot course. Everybody wants one, and it is
Yeah.
going to be fantastic. We are going to base it off the good tarot.
Yeah.
My wisdom of the tarot won't be out till the year after next, so it's going to be off the good tarot. But Jeanette and I are going to bring in the concepts of the traditional tarot as well. So you're going to really understand how I got to where I got to in the guidebook for the good tarot. So it's really going to be a fantastic course. And when is it going to be?
I'm
We
not
don't know
sure.
yet.
But that
Okay.
wasn't my question. The
Oh,
reason
oh.
I was saying that is
I thought, what are you asking? Okay.
all right, so I'm going to just throw this out here. When
Sure.
you were doing the reading,
Yes, sir.
I noticed that some of the, I'm going to call them characters. Is that
Some of the
correct?
characters, correctamundo.
Are all facing a certain way, and then the others are facing another way. For instance,
Yes.
on this side, the majority
Yeah.
of the characters were actually, he's kind of facing a little bit that way. She's facing that way. He's kind of pivoted that way. She's
There,
the
you
king
want to
is
know what it
facing-
means and what I
Yeah.
deduce from that. That's actually very good because I never talk about that unless it's in the course.
Well, can I just finish
Yes.
so people can understand what's going on? Because he's
looking
facing
that
that way,
way.
but these two are facing that way.
Correct.
This one's kind of looking out this way, but then you have your other characters facing in, and then you have
Can
whatever
I?
this character.
Yes.
Yeah, go for
so
it.
let me go for it. So this is actually a good question. Okay, so are you guys paying attention? Here we
Here,
go.
mini
Now,
course.
Mini course. So I absolutely look at in the traditional tarot of this kind, where you have the minor arcana are pictures, and they're all based on Pamela Coleman Smith's first tarot deck, which was the Rider-Waite deck, right? So that's any deck that came after that is based off of hers. So the way the characters look have something to do with whether it's looking back or whether it's looking forward or whether the power is in the now, right? So here, Temperance, the angel looks directly at you. The sun is moving this way, moving towards the future, but is still celebrating in the now, and the sun looks directly at you. So these cards are saying, yay, now, here, focus. The Three of Pentacles, they are looking at each other, so this is a collaborative card. Now, when we look at this one, the Seven of Swords, the Seven, he's looking this way. He's taken the swords. He thinks he's gotten away with something, right? And he's
Thief.
two are behind. It means a lot more than that, though, too,
Okay.
because this is about what we've lost from the past, and he's looking forward. So something that we lost in the past needs to be replenished to move forward, right? So he's looking there and he's taking something away from our future, right? In a way, right? Again, you have to read cards in context, and I don't have enough time to go into all of this with you guys. But the bottom line is that he's going that way. So he's actually going towards the past here, because if I look at the past, is that relative to the left, and I look at the future relative to the right. Now, these are my interpretations, right? So then I'm saying, oh, look at that. He thinks he's doing something smart, but he's actually going backwards, right? He's going backwards. So this is the decisions that we make, the shortcuts, for example, which I didn't say. So it's actually good that you brought that up. So this is almost like a shortcut, that you're trying to take a shortcut, and what you're doing is you're actually stealing from your own future if you take a shortcut. You have to, right? That's which is true. It's like but you're the one that always says that, when I say let's take a shortcut, you say many a what you call it, or I forget it.
No,
he
you're
doesn't say
close.
that.
You're mixing up my things, but
Am
yeah.
I?
Many a shortcut
leads
to a long
longer
detour.
A long detour, yes, exactly. So you want to avoid the detour. Yeah, that's right. And it's interesting that I actually didn't say that. I thought about it in my head and didn't say it. So I'm glad you actually asked me this question. So this is about detours don't work. You can't take a shortcut. You can't take a shortcut to show social justice. That's where I look at performative stuff is that's not the work. The work isn't that, right? The work isn't the woke Olympics on Instagram. The
Or
work is
people
just saying they're
the 10,000 hour rule to become
you
is a real thing, as opposed to people who just read one book
and they
think
say they're an
know.
expert.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that, and again, hey, everything is valid, but it's like saying you got to do the work. There's no shortcuts. No shortcuts here. Do the work. And it means across the board for everything, right? So it's like giving yourself time. Remember I said, it's not going to happen fast. Nothing is going to happen fast, and shortcuts won't work. All right, so there's no shortcut here. And that is the fate. Your destiny is do the work, remember spirit, everything is a spiritual solution if you're willing to step into what needs to be done. Roll up your sleeves, do the work. Okay, so now here, victory is this way. So I'm going, ooh, this is so good, because we learned a lesson here. Remember, the Hermit card's looking that way. There's that teacher, that one who had to go through that, who really did the work and is recognizing, oh wow, these are the lessons. He looks to the past. The past informs our lessons, but we have victory over the past, right? We might get a little hurt pride as a result of it. Guess what? Our ideas might not have been so good, or we might have been blind to some of our the way we see ourselves. We might not have noticed that certain things needed to change because depending on where we are in the spectrum of people, if you will. So what's important here is to say it's okay to change, that letting go the way we thought things were. There can be a bit of a shock, because of course that's the Tower card's always a shock implied. But if we put one foot in front of the other and we remember that there's a spiritual solution to every problem, then in fact we will be victorious over that. And so what, that our pride gets hurt a little bit? There's definitely nothing really lost when you're building something better, right? Okay, now, but nobody likes to be wrong. That's the other thing, right? So it's
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So because I spotted most of the cards looking this way, it was kind of interesting. This is the second half of the energy for the month.
That's the center of the,
what we have to look forward to, a lot of that you brought in to the reading.
And also these two cards, so the Queen of Pentacles is that very earthy, she's a friendly, she's her friend, she's an ally, she's a sense of feeling connected to other people, especially women. She's that earth mother, that she's looking to the past and going, I can make something beautiful out of this, because there's a little rabbit, that's always about new beginnings, right? And here we're taking a trip, we're moving away from that, and we're going towards something new. And the High Priestess, she is the intuitive, she's the mystical part of
now.
In the now. She is saying, trust your intuition, trust the invisible, move forward into, forget the tangible realities. We already know how to name everything. Now what are we going to rebuild? It's not built yet. It's not totally tangible. It's still in process, right? And the Empress is the birth. It's like, oh my gosh, we're giving birth to something fabulous.
She's got a little...
Yes,
They have so many
there's
little-
all kinds of symbols in here, which is what we're
I can't wait to do your course.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're going to bring...
This is also the way we did the Good Tarot deck, the way Jenna did the art is different than this. So, but this is definitely more the way we're going to be doing my next tarot deck. Ooh. So the Seven of Earth here, which is we're having worked really hard and needing to make a choice. So if I had taken that card from this deck, the Universal Weight deck, you would have seen a person looking at one pentacle down here and 6 over there, making a choice between two. Is this one, which one has more value, this or this? But it is the opportunity that's in front of you after a lot of hard work. So yeah, there's a lot of, there's something beautiful that's possible, right? So that's why we use the Seven of Earth. And so this card would have gone over here. Remember I said this. So this card looks back over everything and say, this is the theme. This is a time to choose. Now it does sound like I'm talking about only one subject, but it can be applied to anything. This is energy. I'm looking at energy and a new responsibility that we all feel right now, and a sense of, and a real need for diplomacy. And diplomacy is always about letting the other person speak too. Letting them have a say, and then you guys, and you say, and then you come to the middle and say, well, can we make a win-win here? It doesn't mean one person is the only, there's not only one way. And that's what has to come up for everybody this month as well.
That's great. I think that answered my question, because I was sitting here looking at it going...
It's interesting. I mean, I teach that in the class,
and
but...
you could see how that helps formulate the story. And how it changes the story just by obviously every card's going to tell a different thing, but this really helped me understand a little bit more of how you saw it.
Yeah, and this was the deck that I used forever, and I've always been really influenced by the directions, etc. But because art's very subjective, etc. The way we did the Good Tarot was different, but I will be using very similar. There are similar elements in my newest deck, Wisdom of the Tarot. That's coming up,
Shall we say goodbye?
We should say goodbye.
Yeah.
Hi and goodbye. I hope to see you. Oh, the quiz is so good. Take our quiz. There's a link someplace. And come to our party on the 22nd of June.
Lots of
We're gonna
dancing.
learn. Yeah, we're gonna have a dance party, and it's gonna be fun. It'll be great. Hey, if you like this video, hey, what are we gonna do? Tell them what to do on YouTube.
You're gonna smash that button, as the kids say. Then there's a little bell that's gonna come up. You're gonna press on it to make sure you get a notification every time we put up a video.
Wow, you're good at this.
Wow, I had to speak really fast.
And we'll see you next time.